The sheriff sat in the saddle with the ease of a man who had spent more of his life on horseback than off it. His hat was pulled low. His eyes were half closed. He was almost home. Almost. Then something caught his eye. A flash of white. Out there in the brown and gold of the desert. Something that had no business being there. He straightened in the saddle. He looked again. A girl. Running. Alone. In the middle of nowhere. Wearing a white wedding dress that was already turning brown at the hem from the dust and the dirt. No horse. No water. No road. Nothing around her for miles but heat and silence and the kind of emptiness that swallows people whole. Sheriff Cole pulled his horse to a stop. Then he rode toward her. She did not hear him coming until he was close. When he called out, she stopped. She turned around slowly. Her eyes were red. Her cheeks were streaked with dried tears. Her hair had come loose and the desert wind had made a mess of it. The dress that had probably been beautiful just hours ago was ruined at the bottom. But she stood straight, and she looked at him without flinching. He asked her where she was going. Away, she said. Far away. He asked her from what. She looked down at the cracked earth beneath her feet. And then she told him. Her parents. A marriage she never agreed to.
I never thought I'd be standing here, in this dress, with nowhere to go. Everything just disappeared.
A decision made for her, as if she were a piece of furniture to be moved from one house to another. She had not been asked. She had not been given a choice. So she ran. The sheriff looked around at the desert surrounding them. Miles of nothing in every direction. No water. No shade. The sun still high and brutal overhead. He told her the truth plainly. She would not make it out here. Not alone. Not without water. She would die before she reached anywhere. She looked back at him, and her voice was quiet, but it was the quietest kind of strong there is. She said she did not care. She said she was not going back. The sheriff studied her for a long moment. A man who had spent his life reading people, reading situations, reading the difference between stubbornness and true resolve. What he saw in her eyes was not the anger of a girl throwing a fit. It was the decision of a person who had already made peace with the worst possible outcome rather than surrender. He took off his hat, and then Sheriff Cole asked the most unexpected question of her life. He told her his name, and then he asked if she would marry him instead. She stared at him. She almost laughed. She told him he did not even know her. He said he knew she was brave, and that, he said, was enough for now. A tear ran down her face, the last one she would cry that day. She nodded. She said yes. He helped her onto the horse. She sat behind him and held on. And together, the two strangers rode back toward town, back toward the very place she had been running from. Only now, something had shifted. She was not being dragged back. She was returning on her own terms, with a choice she had made herself. The wedding hall was still full when the doors opened. The guests had been waiting in confused silence.
We're ready.
Whispers had been passing from row to row like a slow fire. Nobody knew quite what had happened. The bride had vanished. The groom was still standing at the front of the room with the impatient look of a man not used to waiting for anything. His name was Hog Bellamy.
Did you really think she'd marry him? Ridiculous.
And the name suited him. He was large and loud and accustomed to getting exactly what he wanted exactly when he wanted it. He had paid for this wedding. He had arranged everything. In his mind, the girl was already his. She had simply forgotten that fact temporarily. When the doors swung open and he saw Clara walk in beside a dusty sheriff with a badge on his chest, Hog Bellamy laughed. A big, rolling, ugly laugh. He pointed. He made his little joke about the girl running away and coming back with a cowboy. The guests did not laugh with him. Sheriff Cole walked toward him. Slowly, one boot after the other on the wooden floor. The kind of walk that empties a room without a single word being said. People stepped back on both sides. Chairs scraped. Nobody wanted to be in the middle of what was coming. The sheriff stopped a few feet away. His voice was calm, completely calm. The way a man is calm when he has nothing to prove and everything under control. He told Hog Bellamy to stay away from her. He said she was his bride now. Hog's face went red. His small eyes went smaller. He sputtered about the money he had spent. About what he was owed.
I won't have it! Not today!
You'll regret this!
This is outrageous! Utterly preposterous!
The sheriff said 4 words. She is not for sale. What happened next happened fast. Hog Bellamy's hand dropped toward his gun. He had made the oldest and most final mistake a man can make in a room with a sheriff. He had assumed he was the faster one. He was not. One shot. One sound like the crack of the world splitting open. And then Hog Bellamy went down. Heavy and sudden, like something that had never had any grace to begin with. The hall went absolutely silent. The sheriff stood still. He looked around the room slowly. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The matter, as far as the room was concerned, was settled. The wedding that followed was nothing like the one that had been planned. It was short. It was simple. A few honest words spoken in front of whoever happened to still be standing there. But it was real, and it was chosen. When it was done, Clara smiled. The first true smile of the entire day. The sheriff smiled back. But the day was not yet finished. The sheriff walked to where Clara's parents sat in their seats. They had watched everything. They looked small now. The kind of small that comes from being seen clearly. He stood in front of them, and he spoke without anger. He said what they had done was not love. He said it was a crime. He took out his handcuffs and he placed them under arrest. Clara watched them be led away. She felt the sadness of it. The grief that comes even when justice is right. She felt it fully, and she did not push it away. The sheriff came back and stood beside her. He asked if she was okay. She looked at him. Then she looked through the open doors of the hall. Outside, the sun was going down. The sky had turned orange and pink and wide and open.
Yeah, I think I am.
She said yes. She said she thought she finally was. And for the first time in a very long time, she meant it completely.